you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so we'll now go to the next case, which is 262 Alexander Street, block 11501, lot 1 in the S1 zone, and this carries the case number Z1616-377.
I'll note for the record that the noticing is in order and the board has jurisdiction to hear the
All
application.
the notices are correct.
Correct.
So, Mr. Tarr, I will get Mr. Bridger to... Mr. Bridger, will you give the essence of your memorandum for the record?
Yes, sir. We are here tonight for application of Enterprise Leasing Company of Philadelphia. They're seeking minor site plan with a D1 variance to permit the conversion of an abandoned
If you
automobile.
want to talk, could you go outside your...
Seeking a D1 use variance to permit the conversion of an abandoned automobile service station to a car rental facility. Additional bulk variances have been requested for signage and the dimension of a parking stall. The trustees of Princeton University are the owners of the property. Subject property is located in the former home of Larini service station. It was sold to the university. The site contains a 1,273 square foot, one-story building with 2 garage bays. Property is situated on a 0.377 acre lot. It's located in the S1, which is a service district in the former township. The existing site is fully developed with a macadam parking lot and limited landscaping around the perimeter. Property is bounded to the north by the Princeton University Arts and Transit Project, to the east by the New Jersey Transit train tracks, and Princeton University to the south by educational and business offices, and to the west by the Springfield Golf Club. As I said earlier, the applicant's proposing to convert the existing service station to a car rental facility, which will feature one-bay car washing area, office space and restrooms. The existing parking lot curbing will be reconfigured to accommodate 20 new parking spaces, 6 rental car storage spaces, and site drainage. New planting beds are proposed around the perimeter of the lot. New lighting and signage will be installed. Properties in the S1 zoning district. The existing use is permitted as of right. The proposed car rental facility is not a permitted use. Therefore, a use variance pursuant to NJSA 40:55D-71 is required. And as you are aware, no variance or other relief may be granted under the terms of this section unless such variance or relief can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and will not substantially impair the intent and purposes of the zone plan and the zoning ordinance. The board should consider the applicant's burden of proof. He has to demonstrate that special reasons exist for granting the variance, as well as addressing the negative criteria. There were several bulk variances associated with the application. One was for the size of a parking stall. The required size is 9 by 19, and the proposed size is 9 by 18. There's 2 sign variances. A freestanding sign requires an 8-foot setback. Excuse me, and they're proposing to use the existing pylon. The proposed setback for the sign from the front property will be 0.7 feet. The sign is internally lit, and internally lit signs are not permitted in the S1 zone. Variance relief will be required for that, and the applicant is proposing 2 facade internally lit signs on Alexander and Faculty Road facades. The maximum size for the signs is 20 square feet or 35% of the facade, whichever is less. The Faculty Road sign is 31.25 feet and requires a variance, and as I said earlier, internally lit signs are not permitted. I'll just hit some of the site plan issues. As far as the landscaping, the applicant proposed trees between a caliper of 2 and 2.5 inches. The ordinance requires at least a caliper, a minimum of 2.5 inches. The applicant should clarify whether they seek to comply with that or seek additional variance relief. The site plan was reviewed by Dan Dobrovolsky, the municipality's landscape consultant. He was concerned that there was not enough space to accommodate the planting of the Zelkovas and evergreen hedge within the swale, and that the trees could conflict with the swale grading. The applicant should address this concern. The applicant should consider screening at the rear of the property line. Site furnishings should be considered. There's 2 Calorie pear trees in front of the property on Alexander. The applicant and the land use engineer have discussed these trees, and I'll let them discuss that later as they present their application. In terms of traffic, the application has been reviewed by the traffic consultant. In general, the elimination of the 2 entrances and the transition from a service station to a car rental facility should generate less traffic. The applicant should speak about the number of employees they have and the parking limits at the site, whether they have enough spaces there to accommodate customers, employees, and the storage of car rentals. Surface water drainage, the proposed plan results in a reduction of 2,080 square feet of impervious coverage. The engineering zoning report had several recommendations. We would suggest that the chain link fence at the rear of the property, which is in disrepair, be repaired or replaced. Site plan calls for the existing macadam parking lot to remain. Given the amount of excavation at the site, the applicant should repave the parking lot. I have a comment about the existing landscape island on Alexander Street, but I'll let the applicant address that in his presentation. Consideration should be given to curbing between the adjacent lot to the north. Bonding will be required for the street opening of Alexander to connect with the storm sewer. No air conditioning condensers are located on the plans. The applicant should address whether they will have air conditioning recommendations. Excuse me. The plan was also reviewed by the Site Plan Review Advisory Board, and I will review their comments. In terms of signage, they did not recommend approval for the proposed signage. They did not recommend illumination of the proposed signage. They did not recommend that the pylon be preserved. They requested that the pylon be eliminated in the front, and they requested that the signage on the building facade on Faculty is recommended to be eliminated and replaced with either a small sign at the corner of Faculty and Alexander or a two-sided monument at the driveway of Alexander. And it should be exterior uplighting is recommended. The signage at the front of the building facing Alexander should be increased in size and, if possible, use the existing soffit down lighting. In terms of lighting, they asked that the lighting should not remain on all night. Only security lighting is recommended after business hours. And they asked the applicant to work with staff to provide adjustable site lighting and review motion sensor lighting for the 2 back facades. Landscaping, the applicant, the 5-foot wide pedestrian sidewalk matching the further west side is recommended instead of the proposed 16-foot sidewalk. Landscaping, including the hedgerow, is recommended to be moved to the sidewalk areas so that the vegetative swale can be enlarged toward the sidewalk beyond the property line. And the hedge should follow the rounded corner of Faculty and Alexander intersection instead of the reversed curved hedge proposed. The board has no problem or issue with the proposed Zelkova trees. The applicant is advised that they should increase the caliper to 2.5 inches to eliminate a variance. A bike rack and bench were recommended on the site. Applicant advised that they would provide these items, and trash receptacle may be provided. The applicant will review this. SPRAP did recommend a new chain link fence in lieu of repairing the existing fence. And the existing pear trees may be removed, the 2 in front on Alexander, to improve sidewalk design. The applicant is asked to look at the circulation of the site. Excuse me. and consider parallel parking along the west side of the building. And that could eliminate tight vehicular turns. Excuse me, my voice is losing it. We were asked to look at the 6 stacked parking spaces in the rear to provide a 24-foot wide parking aisle on either side of the alignment with a straight 12-foot aisle for easy maneuvering around the west side of the building. A compressor is located on the adjacent to the north and west of the building, and this needs to be considered when looking at the circulation of the building. Excuse me. And the Environmental Commission also looked at the site plan, and they had some recommendations. They were asked the applicant to consider covered bike storage, the use of native plants in the landscaping plan, look at the proposed curbing that impedes the flow of water onto the swales. The applicant was asked to look at recommend reduction or elimination of the curbing to allow for a greater runoff. If possible, the swale along Alexander should be larger to help natural increase of filtration of contaminants and manage water flows. Inside, they were concerned about waste. The kitchen should provide for specific organic waste if possible. Recycled waste should be collected in is proper disposal arranged by the applicant, which is ordinanced. The applicant should consider LED bulbs, energy efficient water sense rated bathroom fixtures, and consider energy efficient insulation in the building, including Energy Star windows. The applicant should consider staying away from the red list materials in the PEC memo, which these are environmentally contaminated materials. Excuse me. Finally, the Traffic Safety Commission did look at the report, and they requested the elimination of the 2 entrances at Alexander should reduce traffic. Excuse me. Sorry. Thank you, Jack. They requested that the driveway be narrowed to 24 feet and that the proposed driveway curb should be shifted to the south to align with the on-site cartway. And the proposed curb cut should be reduced to 26 feet. And that is my memo. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to